So, okay, let's get into the weekend. You were calling a game, but before we get into that, I have to talk about the game of the day, of the weekend, arguably. I know LSU and Florida State was the game that most people talked about, right? But Coach Sanders.
Amazing.
Remember I asked you, I was like, what would be considered a win for him? 4 or 5 wins, that'd be considered a win.
Yeah.
He came out and was like, guess what? I have more wins. And by the way, it doesn't mean that they're going to be great, but that was a wonderful opening statement, and it just said something. It doesn't mean that they're about to run the table, right? But it just means that they said something.
And you know what? Like, I almost think it's fine to not focus on what it looks like long term right now.
Right.
You know, because there'll still be questions over the course of a long season. Can the depth hold up? All these things that we can rightly ask. But I heard you talking about it in the first segment. Unprecedented roster turnover there.
Crazy.
So much newness going into that team. To have them come out, forget what we saw top-end performance-wise. I was so impressed because they had great players, great athletes on that team. Shedeur Sanders looks like a legit NFL prospect. Travis Hunter, we knew, one of the best players coming into college football, and has lived up to that building in a way that we're not going to be hyperbolic enough about. It was incredible. They were so prepared, Cari. Like, week 1 around college football, you look all around the sport here. You see penalties, you see mistakes, you see bad tackling. Which you saw bad tackling in this game from both sides.
You did. But they, in terms of discipline, I know where you're going.
Yeah, it's very impressive. And again, we know Deion Sanders, what he did at Jackson State, obviously speaks for itself. The guy can coach ball. But even still, in week 1, with that much turnover on the roster, to me, heightens how impressive it was to have the team that focused, that dialed in, and able to go out on the road against a team that did, listen, suffer a lot of turnover, but still played in the national championship last year. Sonny Dykes and company have also built a fine program over there that still
they're not brand new.
They had plenty of NFL dudes on that team, and that Colorado team did not look shaken by the moment. They looked prepared beyond anyone's expectation, and it was really cool to see. It was fun. If nothing else, Colorado is going to be a fun football team to watch.
It was fun, and I was like, college football needs this. It was fun. It was like, let's see what they're doing. I have a quick question for you, though. I did notice that, I saw some gaping holes on defense. There are a lot of things that they can improve there, and they had to keep taking people in and out. I don't think Travis Hunter should be playing on offense and defense that many snaps throughout the rest of the season. I don't know if he can sustain that, but he's a kid, so perhaps he can.
That was wild, too, by the way. And what I appreciate most about him, because, Cari, people always ask, like, were you a smack talker? I was always too tired to talk smack. Travis Hunter had something to say after every play.
He did.
Playing 120-plus snaps in that Texas heat. That is a level of conditioning that few of us will ever know. It was awesome to watch.
That Texas heat was crazy. They were like, it's at upwards of 120 now. I'm like, and you're out there, God, both of them. I was like, those babies, they need some water. They was ready for it.
Whatever they did to get ready in the hydration plan for Travis Hunter, we need to send that to scientific research for the rest of us.
I love how Deion says after the game, we need to get him a jacuzzi on the plane. Just real braggadocious. I don't care what you say. He deserves a jacuzzi on the plane on the way home. One thing I thought was interesting, and I don't know if this was true. Did you hear this story? And I think Deion said it, so it might be true. He's been coaching Travis since Little League, since he was 4 years old. He's had a relationship with Travis Hunter. That's what I heard him say.
And you saw that.
And I was like, these people believe in him more than I think the rest of the world. The kids believe in him. I'm curious, in your opinion, because you've played at every level, what does it take to have a coach that really inspires you, that you would run through walls for him? What is that element that the coach must give you?
Words have to match the actions. That's usually the simplest form of it is. And I thought it was interesting. Deion obviously is going to have a weird relationship with the media because he's kind of been media for a while, too.
Of course.
And you saw him getting combative with the media after, which I could do without, but regardless.
Yeah.
I saw him address.
But I expected that, didn't you?
Yeah, of course.
You're just like, okay, we got it.
It's part of the show.
Yeah, right.
But I saw him address his team in the locker room. And he said, he talked about, do you believe now to the media? But he said to his players, I don't think some of you guys believed how good you can be. To see the ball go through the basket like that week 1 for the players on that team. Because now if you're Deion, you can say, the way we prepared in the offseason leading up to this, look at the results it gave you. And now the challenge is going to be for a team who was 1-11 last year. These guys, a lot of them weren't a part of that, but still, a bad team last year enjoying early success like this. Now the challenge is going to be, hey, that's not an excuse for us to stop our preparation. No, quite the opposite. It's the way we taught you to do things bore that kind of fruit this early. You guys went out there and beat a team that was a college football playoff team last year because of how we prepared in the lead up to this game. And now if you're a player, you know, big time programs that we see all the time, Georgia, Alabama, they can sell, hey, our level of preparation not only gets you to titles, but gets you to the NFL. And if you're Deion Sanders, starting with our level of preparation got you a ranked win in week 1 of the college football season. Imagine how high this can go is unbelievable. But that goes back to the number one thing a coach can do is have the words you're saying to your team match the actions of what you do on a daily basis and then the results that follow.
Well, look, he cut off 2 toes because he was like, I don't want to miss no games.
Oh, and you saw, I mean, having to bust the chair out there on the sideline in games, like that man's still going through it.
Yeah, he was trying to do his little dance after they won. He could only do it just like a little bit. I was like, oh boy, don't hurt yourself. Really quickly, how many players stayed? I think they had like a
I
handful.
believe 9 scholarship players came back from last year's roster.
Okay, just curious. So what do you think, and while we needed it, I mean, we needed that excitement, and everyone's like, oh, you're so excited about Travis Hunter. He's been the guy. Great, now we know. What do you think we're going to see from this team moving forward if they manage expectations? Because we always are taught don't get too high, don't get too low. Just stay in the middle.
Yep. Honestly, I don't know anymore. I thought this is a team, their win total was like 3.5, 4 wins this year. And I was ready to take the under. They've got a difficult schedule highlighted like games like this. We're already circling Nebraska coming up this weekend, an old rivalry from the Big 12. USC, the game everyone's looking forward to with potentially 4 Heisman candidates on the field.
That's gonna be a good game.
So, I mean, listen, if they continue to play like that, bowl eligibility, which would have been an overwhelming victory in year 1 for a team that went 1-11, looks like it's on the table.
Can you believe that?
Like I said, they're going to be fun. Like sometimes we overcook all this.
And it's just
having teams that are entertaining and fun in college football is the goal, and especially on offense, Colorado's got that now.
Didn't we forget about the fun of it all? Don't we play this for fun? Quickly, before we go to break, you called North Carolina and South Carolina on the radio. Talk to me about the Tez Walker situation. Set this all up for us because I'm not sure that I'm aware.
Yeah, so Tez Walker is currently dealing with a NCAA transfer waiver being denied. We've seen around the sport a lot of players in college football. There's supposed to be a one-time free transfer rule. Basically, while you're an undergraduate, you're supposed to be able to transfer one time without having to sit out and be penalized at all. In this latest round, we've seen a number of players around the sport who normally can transfer multiple times, but use something called a hardship waiver. They're going back home to be closer to a sick relative, be closer to their parents. Some legitimate reason that the NCAA has gone along with, but now has decided they're going to enforce a little bit more here. Because of, technically, he transferred from an FCS school to where he was last season prior to being at North Carolina in 2020 when the FCS canceled their games. So he didn't play it down at that school. He didn't play it down for that team, but technically transferred. But due to the COVID season being canceled, the NCAA is looking at and counting that as 2 transfers, despite the obvious common sense notion of this for everybody involved, and dragged their feet on deciding this into this next week. I believe he's going to have an appeals hearing this week, and most people expect that to go his way, but the fact that it took this long and forced him to miss a game where he had family in the stands that was coming to see him at the game, he's expected to be North Carolina's best receiver.
They're waiting for a call. They're waiting for the green light to say you can play.
They've been waiting, and everyone's known about this situation, and for the NCAA to be hearing this after week 1 of the season seems unnecessary and cruel to a kid that was trying to go out there, that had all his family coming out there, that still came to the game despite the fact that they found out he wasn't going to be able to play, to support the young man, and his team went out there and got a win for him. But still, to me, it's a shameful reminder of the NCAA's total lack of common sense and lack of desire to truly do right by the players, but instead go out there and look like they're still being the mall cops enforcing their business.
Yeah, because this isn't where they should be enforcing it, right? There are other situations we're sure that they should be enforcing.
Yes, there are far more serious situations than this where they try try and make their presence felt, and it's unfortunate it cost this guy a game that he could have been a real big help to his team in.
Oh, but I'm glad you're on it, and clearly you discussed it on the call.
Yeah.
You had his back. You're like, let's go, let's do it.
Oh, I mean, watching everyone dunk on the NCAA, and that was great because everyone knew they were in the wrong. Unfortunately, it doesn't change anything for the young man, and that's the part that stinks.
That's the part that's bad. All right, I'll see you again next Monday. I appreciate you being here. This first hour is always too fast.